What's going on, everyone? Aaron here from Happy Hydro, and we are getting even deeper into the Controller 69 Pro from AC Infinity. I'm going to check out the Automations and Recipes tab so that we can get your plants up and running in no time. Takes all the guesswork out of it. Well, why wait? Let's go check it out. Don't forget to stop at happyhydro.com for all of your indoor gardening needs. And please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. Well, we are back for another feature from the Controller 69 Pro. As you can first see, all of my devices are in the off position before we get started, so we have a clean slate. And like I said, we are checking out the Automations tab, which is down there with all of your other tabs, such as your graphs and your history logs and your port views. But for this episode, we are getting into the Automations tab. So first we see that there are three distinct different automations, or recipes as they call them. We have one for vegetative stage, one for flowering stage, and one for the seedling stage. Now they are all different and you cannot run one of them while the other one is running. Once you have an automation on and running, that is pretty much what your controller is going to go by. So you're just going to choose the automation which stage you are in your grow. For this video, I'm just going to check out the vegetative stage at first, just to kind of get our bearings. And you can see that there are solid blue lines next to the three devices that I have. That just means that those devices are connected and the Controller 69 is reading those as available for that automation. Getting right into it, I'm going to start with the light device, which is my EV08. And you can see here the first way it's toggled is for a continuous cycle. So that is pretty much that same as that cycle mode where you're running off that 24-hour time period. What is cool about this is that you can almost set everything from inside this automation. If you guys caught my last video, we were talking about sunrise sunset features, and this is a great way to add that without having to look too far around the app. Also, you're able to do the min and max levels inside the automations as well, so you're not hopping back and forth between tabs or ports or whatever, just to try to make sure those settings are working right. So like I said, it does work off the cycle setting, which is at 24-hour on-off, or you can toggle it on to come on at a certain time and turn off at a certain time, which is pretty much just that schedule setting. Which means if you would prefer to work with a set schedule, like a certain on time and a certain off time, then that schedule setting is going to be great for you, but if you start that cycle setting, that whatever time you set that for, so if you're doing an 18 on and 6 off, that's going to start as soon as you set that cycle setting. So you don't have it, if you want to turn on in a half hour or so, you might benefit from the schedule setting. But if you have it at the right time and you're like, yep, this is it, I want to start my cycle right now, you might want to do the cycle setting. So I'm going to save whatever changes I made to this recipe, and you can kind of see that the way that I have it scheduled now, it's not on and running. So you can see that that blue bar next to that device or port is also not on. So that's just a quick and easy way for you to figure out if those devices are up and running or if they are within your off period for your automation. Another really cool thing is that the Controller 69 Pro does a good job of identifying what devices you have and giving you specific controls for those devices. So in our Humidifier tab, you can see we're primarily concerned with VPD. And in this tab, you have the option to pick from the VPD trigger or your VPD mode triggers. So if you folks remember from our last video where we had to go through the controller and the one section was auto, that feature allowed you to dial in VPD depending on what kind of device you're working with, like a humidifier, a heater, or a ventilation system. And you can dial that in, those triggers will turn on and turn off at certain KPAs. And this is where I believe that the VPD set trigger primarily works with the CloudForge humidifier because it dials in the VPD and releases it to keep it in that constant range. And just like when we were working with the light device for the sunrise sunset, Some of your other devices will allow for transition or buffer zones. This just allows a little tolerance for those devices to work. So our final device or port we're going to work with is our inline fan. You can tell it's the inline fan because it has a little picture of a fan next to device type. And just a warning or a note, if you are going to set an automation for the device type fan, which if you're thinking your inline fan, it's actually going to control all of the devices that are registering as a fan. So in my tent, that includes the inline fan and the circulating fan. So just be aware that if you are setting a device type for the automation, that all of the devices that match that device type are going to be affected in that automation the same way. So I've gotten so far and I've changed so much of my automations that I don't even know what's up and what's down anymore. So it's really easy to go through and get back to basics. Each automation section allows you to either delete the automation or simply just reset it so you can start from a clean slate. So I'm just going to go through and reset all of my automations so that I have a good foundation to start, tweaking these device types to match my personal grow, which is really cool because with a lot of help from AC Infinity, it's still super customizable to make sure that your grow is in mind. So my automation is still technically on and they are just reset. So you can see if I go back to the main view and look at the ports individually, you see a little notification at the top there, that little banner. It just mentions that you cannot control the ports outside of the automation if the automation is working, so that you can't run two things at the same time. It would be contradictory for you to try to run the port by itself while also having it run on the automation. So if you ever change your mind, just go ahead and turn off those automations and you will be set free to control those individual ports, dial them in just as you need them for your specific grow. But going back into automations, you can see, like I said, we had a couple different variants, one for seedling, one for vegetative, and one for flower. And if you dive into them a little bit more, you can see that their different device types are set up differently, whether you're 18 and 6 or 12 and 12 for light schedules, or even different KPAs for the different stages of growth. Even getting into these seedling stage recipes or automations is really cool because it takes a lot of the guesswork, especially for newer growers. And speaking of newer growers, if you are a newer grower or a seasoned veteran, don't forget to support us here and our channel and buy your indoor gardening supplies at happyhydro.com. So another little cool thing that I found when I was digging around in the different ports and device types is that you see the device types for like a little snowflake or a little flame and a water with a line crossed out of it. And I'm no detective at all, but I think AC Infinity is in the works for an AC unit, a dehumidifier, and the heater's on the way, so I think the writing's on the wall. We're going to see a lot more cooler AC Infinity products in the future to really take time to grow and harness and master our grow room. Those automations and recipes to be built into that controller already means you're going to have more success growing, more time to learn about your plants, and more fun at the end of the day, knowing you have everyone in your corner to help you with a successful grow. Well, until next time, stay happy, friends.